Hello and welcome. This is week 13. We are moving into the very final section of the semester. So what I'd like to do to start with is I want to give you some details about what we will do for the last 3 weeks of our semester. And then if you have any questions or concerns or whatever, you're welcome to contact me, of course. I would love it if you do. The other thing too is that I have a couple situations where the students really, if you are having any troubles, if you have problems or whatever, please contact me directly. If you wait until the final week or the last 2 weeks, I will not be able to do anything for you. So please make sure to contact me this week or next week. If you don't contact me in week 13 or 14, I will assume that all of the records I have are absolutely correct. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to take a look at our week 13 PowerPoint. Of course, this is how I work. I like my PowerPoints. So what I'm doing essentially is I'm going to take a look at slide 2 to start with. Essentially what I want to do is to talk about our final 3 weeks together. Because we missed the week 4 lecture, what I've done is I've just extended our semester by 1 week. But of course, because our focal point is language, and particularly the English language, I will be using 2 methods of testing, if you remember. So in week 15, we will be doing a written test, and in week 16, we'll be doing our speaking test. So essentially, the final lecture is going to be in week 14. So what I've done here is I've tried to make it a little bit easier to grasp, just by color coordinating it. So the medium blue for week 14 essentially is the last week of November. So we're looking at November 23rd through November 27th. And this will be our final lecture period, so next week will be your final lecture. And then the week after, so starting on November 30th and moving into December, will be your final written tests. And then, which I'm going to explain a little bit more in a minute. So your written exams are in the mint green, I guess, mint blue, I'm not sure what color you'd like to call that. And then week 16 will be our final week together, which will be your speaking tests. So essentially what I want to do is to discuss each of these in turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to take a look now at slide 3. Because what I'd like to do to begin with is to explain to you once again, as I did at the beginning of the semester, what how the grading scheme works. So for Practical English 2, the second semester of your Practical English, I will grade you, once again, on your attendance, your participation, and your final exams. So essentially your attendance, the way that we worked attendance, if you remember from the beginning of the semester, was for you to submit your assignments on time. If you submitted your assignment on time, you got 20 points right away. Remember that for GNUE, the GNUE policy for attendance is that you cannot be absent 4 times. So if you submitted an assignment late 4 times, then you, according to GNUE policy, you must receive an F. If you have situations that were problematic or something happened in particular and so you needed extra time or something, then you should be contacting me directly. Once again, you need to contact me either this week for your week 13 or in week 14 to let me know what's going on and for us to talk together. Otherwise, I will go according to the records. Because I get extremely busy at the end of the semester, you need to contact me before the exam period. So if you contact me in weeks in week 13 or 14, that's okay, but if you don't contact me in week 15, 16, because essentially you have had the opportunity all semester to contact me. Do it now, don't wait. So after your attendance is your participation. So your participation marks were how well you did your assignments, essentially. And basically, if you completed the assignment, you got 100%. If, however, and especially after week 10, I started to be more careful about the grading. If you were, for example, in week 10, if you're still writing in sentences instead of in paragraph form, or you're writing, for example, one sentence and then separately 3 sentences and then separately 1 sentence, that's not a paragraph. So if it's not a paragraph, I took points from you. I still have a few students who are still writing sentence, 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 so you got deducted quite a few points for that. Also, if you didn't complete sections of the assignment, you got marks deducted. But overall, generally speaking, the assignments were done and done really well. So if you did that, you got 100%. Your final exams are worth 60% of your marks. So this is the big piece of your grading. And the final exams are split into 2 sections. So essentially, what we worked on this semester was your writing and how to create a very systematic, logical, good, clear answer in English. So what I've done is I split the written test and the speaking test into 30% each. I will, in your next weeks, I will explain to you even in further detail exactly how you will be marked. Once again, please contact me, as soon as you can. Email me, call me, whatever you like. Contact me through your class captain if you feel shy, because it's really important that we sort out any issues that we have starting now. Okay, don't wait until later. So I'm moving on to slide 4 to give you a little bit more detail about your written exam, which will be written in week 15. So once again, this written exam is worth 30%. So essentially, you're going to be doing an interview and writing an essay about the interview. So we're following the same pattern that we've been working on all semester. Also, part of our work together this semester was for you to practice that third-person writing skill. So talking about, your partner. He, and using verbs with S, or she using verbs with S. He likes, he wants to, he goes to, these kinds of usages for present tense. Also, what I'd like you to be thinking about is how to make questions, because as future teachers, this is a very important skill for you to be developing. So thinking about the different questions you can ask and follow-up questions for you to use in your interviews. So for your written exam, I'm expecting you to be using good interview questions. I'm also I also want you to brainstorm before you write your essay, and I want to see an essay. Dun, 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 dun. So I hope that's not too overwhelming. That is what we have been working towards all semester. So again, if you're unsure or you have any questions, contact me. Please don't wait. Do it now. Just do it, Eikimoto. So I'm moving on now to our slide number 5. So slide number 5 is talking about our week 16 speaking exams. So the speaking exams, once again, are also worth 30% of your marks. And the speaking exam, part of your exam is just to make sure that we communicate effectively together, because we're going to be talking on the phone. So what we want to do is you need to be using conversation strategies. So the first thing that I encourage you to do is to check if you understand or not. I will ask you, do you understand? To make certain that you're clear about what we're talking about. So you need to answer me so I can see if you understand. You can say, oh, okay, I see, I see, or yes, I understand. If you didn't hear clearly, or maybe you're not 100% sure about it, Then when I ask you, do you understand, you can say, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? So it gives you a chance to think about it one more time. Or perhaps you don't understand at all. So if you don't understand, I will help you to understand, because you can't answer a question when you don't understand it. So you say, no, I don't understand. Could you repeat that, please? And I'll use different ways to ask the question, essentially. Now, sometimes, of course, I may ask you a question and you are not 100% sure that you understand me exactly correctly. In that case, ask a question to make sure you are clear. So this is the second case, which is asking questions to clarify. So a question to clarify, for example, is, so you mean I should answer in a paragraph, right? So in this case, we use a tag question to be checking to make sure. I'm 98% sure this is correct, but I want to check. So we give the statement and we add that tag question. So I should answer in a paragraph, right? Okay. Now, of course, because what I'm going to be looking for is when I ask you a question, you need a little bit of time to think about the answer before you answer. Okay, so you don't need to answer immediately. What you should do is take a second and think about, because I'm looking for a paragraph answer, to think about 3 details that you can give. So you can have up to 30 seconds basically to think before it starts to become uncomfortable for the person who's talking to you. This is a really good skill for you for any interview. So what you need to do is you need 30 seconds to think. You say, just a moment, please. Or you can say, okay, please wait a minute. And then you have your 30 seconds to think. Or, you can use different styles. You can repeat the question again slowly, and as you're repeating the question, you can be thinking about your details, how you're going to talk about, what details you're going to talk about. So at the end, when you have finished, then you want to say goodbye. So when we finish our interview together, you and I, then you can say, thank you, have a nice day, and I will say the exact same thing. If you are not sure, ask. Don't just hang up. You can ask me, am I finished? And then I will tell you yes or no, and we say goodbye and have a nice vacation. If you have any questions about these, I'll give you some more information next week also, of course, but I want to give you a little bit of advance notice so that you have time to review and prepare and organize to make sure that you understand very clearly how to create a paragraph and how to give a paragraph answer. Because essentially that's what we're looking for. Your written test will be an essay answer. Your speaking test will be a paragraph answer. Okay? So anyways, I'm moving on now to slide number 6. So again, slide number 6 is very similar, but in this case, what I wanted to point out once again is I will ask you a question, which we have looked at in our class, and what I want you to do is answer in a paragraph. Okay? An important point, of course, of what we have studied this semester is what tense to use. So make sure that the tense you're using matches, first of all, the question, and secondly, that your answer follows the same tense pretty much all the way through, because you should generally keep the same tense, and also that the tense matches what you want to say, because another important part of this is you are making the English, you're producing it. You're creating the language that you want me to understand. Now, if you want to practice, and you should, the best way to do this is to look at paragraph structure again. Make sure that you're very clear about it, and practice with a friend. Ask your friend a question. Your friend should be able to respond in paragraph form, speaking in English. Okay? So the essential point for this is that you produce English which is very, very clear, it's very organized, and it has a very clear system so that when anyone is listening to you, you give not only a clear answer, but an effective answer, okay? A very well-developed answer. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to move on now to our main part of week 13. So week 13, of course, is once again part 1. I'm going to talk about your week 11 assignments and the simple corrections that we can help ourselves with. We can self-correct. Part 2 is going to be a very brief review of week 12, and then we're going to move on to the main part of our week 13 assignment. For our conversation strategies, which we have already spoken about, and essay development, we'll be talking about that in part 2. So what I'd like to do is move on to our simple corrections. So as usual, you know my style, I like it for you to think, and I know many students they don't want to think. Maybe you're really tired now, you're at the end of the semester, but you can do it. So what I'd like you to do is take a look at slide number 8. So these are simple corrections. If you remember, you had 3 different assignments that were part of your week 11 assignment. The first one was for you to go back to your week 10 assignment, which was your interview with your partner, and to try to remember, and if you couldn't remember, you could just cut and paste. It was very, very simple. The details that you gave in the paragraph. So the first point I want to make about this is that many students didn't give me the detail, they gave me the questions they asked. But the question is not what I was looking for. Remember that the word question and the word detail are different. So I did not ask you for questions, I asked you for details. So please remember that a big part of answering and doing these assignments is understanding what the question itself is. And actually what your assignment was for you to give me the details, not the questions. So anyways, take a look here. I have given 5 paragraph details from your assignments. See if you can figure out what is wrong with these. Go. Alright, so once again, pause the video if you have not had a chance to go through these. These are not particularly difficult. You should be able to find them quite easily. But remember that the point of us doing this together is for you to find the mistakes yourself and fix the mistakes yourself. Because if you find the mistakes, you get the points. If I find the mistakes, you lose the points. What's better? So anyways, taking a look. I'm going to move on, I'm going to move on to slide number 9. So originally we had number 1, her favorite subjects was law and politic. So of course we have her favorite subject, 是, which means many. But then our verb describes only one. So we want to change the verb into a plural form, many. Her favorite subjects were law and politics, because we want to talk about all the varieties of politics. Number 2, originally we had favorite snack was chocolate ice cream, but we remember in English we need to explain whose favorite snack it was. So we need his or her favorite snack was chocolate ice cream. Number 3, originally we had small w, where the partner was born and where she grew up, but remember that we want to have a capital letter first, always. So we should have where, and again, the partner doesn't explain enough. Whose partner? My partner. You conducted the interview, so it was your partner. So you need to say where my partner was born and where she grew up. That would be good. Number 4. So number 4 was actually quite common. Number 4 originally is I could know. And if you remember in last week's video, I commented on the same thing. Could know means it was possible. It doesn't mean that you did that. So what we want to show is that you did learn that. So I would much prefer I learned. I learned that. And then we have she like coffee rather than alcohol. But remember when we're using the third person form, she, we need that S for our present tense. She likes, usually normally, she likes coffee rather than alcohol. And number 5, as I did already explain, but I'm hoping that you remembered, detail 3 is not a question, it's a detail. So remember that we use these different word forms to explain clearly what it is that we want. So what is your favorite subject and why are the questions you ask, but they are not the details. The detail is, my favorite subject is math because I don't like memorization, but I'm hoping that the interviews should have been conducted with another person, because also part of the assignment was for you to be practicing your English skills, because obviously it's a bit difficult for us in this form, in this particular lecture format. So remember also when we use those connectors and but, because they are used in the middle to connect two ideas. So if you have written a book, I would accept you starting with one of these, but since we don't write books, or well, I mean I've co-written one, but you know, we are not novelists. That is not our job. Then it means we're not experts, which means we shouldn't be doing these things. It's a bad habit. It's also something you should definitely be preventing your elementary school students from doing, because it's a bad habit. It is a bad habit. So let's not do that. Moving on. I would like to move on now to slide number 10. And I've got a few tips, because I noticed in your homework, I really enjoyed reading about your favorite YouTubers, favorite foods, and all of these, you know, wonderful ideas. So one of the things that I noticed is there's still some confusion about something, or some of the things we have already spoken about. So what I did today is I just decided to give them as tips, and I put them in because I know it's hard sitting and watching a video. I'm not a YouTuber, so I'm not particularly exciting. But anyways, tip number 1 is the differences between a menu, a dish, and dishes. So if you remember, the most important point is these are nouns. These are objects, right? A phone, a cup, a mug, markers. Okay, so we have the same point. So a menu is the list of all of the dishes that are available in a restaurant. So what I did is I gave you a menu from, and actually we use the same word in Korean, right? Menu pan. So this is actually a menu from, I can't remember where I got it from. Anyways, it's definitely not Korean. So it's all in English. I think it might be Hong Kong or Singapore. I can't remember. I did look at it. But it's a Korean restaurant in another country. So I thought this was quite interesting. And I also really liked the way that they described the foods and the way they capitalized the words. So this is a menu. You can see even just from the pictures, it's a whole variety of dishes. All the dishes that are served in that restaurant. Number 2, however, is one single dish. So if you particularly like maybe spicy bulgogi, or you really like cheese tteokbokki, then that would be a dish that you like, not a menu. Because remember, the menu is all of the dishes that are available. And I think even though maybe you do like eating, being able to eat, 20 dishes is impossible. Anyways, so a dish, remember the a refers to a single one. So here, I'll give you an example. Here we have markers, but a marker. Okay, so in this case, it's the same thing. So a dish, so here we have, I hope you're not hungry. I have a lot of food today because I didn't eat lunch, so I put lots of food pictures in here. Anyways, so a dish would be picture number 2. So one particular plate of food. Whereas number 3, I've given you 2 varieties here, are dishes, lots of them. So in the first picture for number 3, we've got lots of gorgeous dishes that you could choose from. And in the bottom picture for number 3, we've got lots of side dishes. So again, you could use this when you go to a restaurant and they have a lot of side dishes, perfect. But remember, it's dishes. And when we add the ES to any SH ending word, dish, I was going to say fish, but I can't. You could use verbs or nouns as well. We have to add the extra syllable. So we have dish. Trying to think of another one. Shush. So if you tell someone to be quiet and you go shh, that's called shushing someone. So if you say shush, or I go shh, she shushes someone. So we still add that second syllable to the word. Anyways, moving on. I'm going to move on now to slide number 11. So for slide number 11, we have, if you remember, I gave you the 3 pictures, the cute little puppy and the gorgeous guys, and our beautiful landscape photo. So what I asked you to do originally was to give 5 adjectives to describe these photos. These were some of the responses I got which had some small issues. Let's see if you can figure out what those problems are. Go. Alright, so I'm going to continue as always. Once again, pause the video and do try and take a look, see if you can figure it out. So in slide 11, we have number 1, there is so cute kitty. It's actually a dog. So the first point I had with this was I was interested to see that you thought it was a cat. Anyways, there is so cute kitty. I would much prefer you to say that the picture there is such. So there's such a cute puppy. Alright, so there's such a cute puppy rather than there is so. So such is to describe a puppy. Such a cute puppy. Number 2, I'm hoping you saw was the spelling, because you can see even if you downloaded it on the PowerPoint program, there's a red underline. And remember, a red underline is a flag. It shows you that there might be something wrong with that word. So it's not floppy, it's fluffy. F-L-U-F-F-Y. So that puppy is really fluffy, not floppy. Fluffy in English doesn't exist either. Floppy, you could say, but that dog's not floppy. Anyways, number 3. Now, number 3 was an interesting one because if you remember, I tried to explain when we were talking about adjectives that adjectives give a meaning. And adjectives sometimes have a very positive meaning. So, for example, if you say, oh, she's slim. Slim is a very good word, very positive meaning. So anytime you say someone is slim, you're giving a positive feeling to them. If, however, you say they're thin, it's neutral, it's in the middle. It just means that they're perhaps slimmer than average. Okay, so a thin person. If you say skinny, it has a negative meaning. And skinny tends to reflect that it's just skin and bones, and that's all. There's no meat, there's no substance to the person. So in this case, we have here the dog in the picture, number 3. The dog in the picture is tiny, imposing, sullen, furry, and adorable. And the problem that we have here is we have 5 adjectives, which is excellent, but tiny, I'm inclined to say, is positive in this meaning because we're looking at a tiny dog. Imposing and sullen are negative meanings. They have negative meanings. Imposing means that it's kind of scary, and sullen is like that. I don't want to do anything. So those 2 words don't match with tiny, furry, and adorable. Tiny, furry, and adorable are cute, 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 or nice, 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 positive, 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 whereas imposing and sullen are negative, negative. So remember that when we're conveying, using the adjectives, choosing them, we want to keep the same feeling. So it would be, I don't think that a tiny dog like that would be scary, imposing. And I also don't think he looks unhappy. So I'm not sure if those were the correct adjectives that you wanted. But anyways, we need the matching. So what I did is I just took out the imposing and sullen. If you want to choose imposing and sullen as well, then you should use a different sentence. Absolutely separate it. Number 4, they are handsome, aura, cool, tall, and nice. So handsome is an adjective. Aura is a noun. And the aura is the kind of atmospheric spirit that surrounds a person. So if you want to talk about their aura, then we need to describe the aura separately. So what I chose was instead, and I think it's giving the meaning you were trying for, is they're handsome, number 1, and then they have good auras. So that spirit that surrounds them is positive. Also, they're cool, tall, and nice. So I'm hoping that's more of what you were going for. Okay, moving on to number 5. So in number 5, did you catch it? Number 5 is a very, very easy one, because all it was is that we have a picture with a bunch of young guys, and there are many of them, which means they are wearing many shirts. So I'm hoping that you got that they are wearing neat shirts. Do keep in mind again that adjectives can have more than one meaning, the same in Korean. So neat has 2 possible meanings. One of them is, quite cool and nice looking. It also means tidy. So I wasn't sure which one you were going for. I assumed cool, because neat shirts would be an unusual choice because it means tidy or untidy. So someone's wearing a shirt, it's difficult to decide what is tidy or not. Anyways, moving on. Number 6. The man's in the picture is tall, slim, and handsome looking and are wearing nice suits. So we have a few issues here. The first and foremost is, don't forget that in English we have a special word for a bunch of men. I can't even say it. It's so hard for me to say it. Mans. So a man, a group of men. So we use men, M-E-N. So the men in the picture, you could use young men as well if you want to add some adjectives. The men in the picture are tall. So of course, because we have many, we need the plural of the verb. They are tall, slim, and handsome looking. And we don't even need looking. You can just say they are handsome. And they are wearing nice suits because there are many of them. So there are many suits. Number 7. Number 7 was lovely. I really liked the adjectives that many students gave, but just remember to make sure that you are giving a description and not the actual noun. So silence is a noun, not an adjective. So what would be better in describing this beautiful scenery is it's silent. Okay, so it looks silent. Moving on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move on now to slide number 13. And number 13 is so cute. Aren't they gorgeous? So this is tip number 3. This is really easy to confuse, so don't worry, but do pay attention because this is very important. When we use the words so, very, and to, or sucha, okay, so these can be confusing. But the simplest way I think I can convey this is that so is used with an adjective, very is used with an adjective, and to is used with an adjective. So I gave some examples. So with so, that puppy is so cute. It's usually used after to be. I think that's probably the best description I can give. So if you want to use is, are, was, were, then we're going to use so. So that puppy is so cute, that coffee is so hot, that smells so lovely, that smell is so lovely. So after to be we use so. Very means something, we can replace it usually with really. So a very cute puppy. or a very hot coffee, or a very nice smell, a beautiful smell. Too implies it's too much. So for example, if something is too expensive, you can't buy it. If the coffee is too hot, you can't drink it. If I'm too full, I can't eat anymore. So too cute for words means I don't have the words to describe how cute these puppies are. It's overly so. Now, my most important point about this actually was the such a. So when we're using nouns, and in particular the noun is our focus when we're talking about cute puppy, then, and I had lots of students who said so a cute puppy, or so cute puppy, but remember puppy we have to count. Remember in English we love counting nouns. 80% of nouns are countable, so we need such a. And I'm actually putting those two words together because they almost always go together. Such a, and then our adjective, and then our noun. So, such a cute puppy, such a hot coffee, such a beautiful car, such a wonderful smell. Okay? So I'm hoping that helps you to figure out how to use that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more slide and then I'll stop you and give you a part 2 video. So I'm moving on now to finish off basically our week 11 assignments, but this was the paragraphs. So you were to write 2 paragraphs about your favorite things. So again, I have chosen 5 sort of sentences that had some small issues. So take a look and see if you can figure out what's wrong with these sentences. Go. Alright, so I'm going to move on. As usual, if you need a little bit more time, take the time. I know you're really busy, but it's important for you to try to figure these things out by yourself. So, number 1, I have always cheered Heung-min Son because me and he have same last name. So we have a few issues here. So the first thing is when you cheer. So usually we cheer for somebody. You know, you go, 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 like that. Or something along those lines, but we're cheering for somebody, we're thinking about them, we want them to do well. So I've always cheered for Heung-min Son. Why? Because he and I means we. We have, and when we talk about same, it means it's the same, right? It's identical. We have the same last name, so we need the when we use same in this case. Number 2, we've got voice, and we got that wonderful connector and tone. So we have yes, yes, which means to. So they are soft. So we need to pluralize the verb. Number 3, this was really cute. I really liked learning about the cats in the cafe. But remember, even if we're talking about an animal in English, you still have to capitalize the name. So I'm hoping that you got it. I thought this was very, very cute. There are many cats in the cafe, and my favorite cat is Pickled Radish. So Pickled Radish, beautiful, cute little yellow pickled radish. We need a big P and a big R to show that's the name. Number 4, did you catch it? See, I put it in the beginning to see if you'd connect it, because I've noticed that even though I've discussed quite a number of issues in the videos, some students are not connecting them and using them in their writing. So please remember that when you go to a restaurant sells many different types of dishes. They don't sell menus unless they give you a book which has all of the dishes in it. Are they going to sell you that? No, they don't sell menus, they sell the dishes. So it sells various dishes such as sweet potato pork cutlet, cheese pork cutlet, and chicken cutlet. And then remember your period at the end. My stomach is growling because I'm so hungry. Anyways, I hope you're okay. We're going to have some more food shortly as well. Number 5, Moreover, now this was a little bit difficult to deal with because I understood your meaning, not staying in same level, but the grammar is confusing. So I think what we need to do is just stick to the simplest grammar form, which I think is what you want to say is they don't stay the same. What you're trying to say is they make an effort to develop and be better. I think be better is about them as people and as musicians. So I'm inclined to say that's what you were looking for. You make an effort, you don't make efforts. Grammar. Grammar is so much fun. Anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause us there. We'll move on to slide 16 in part 2. Okay? Take care. See you soon.